Let's move on to main topic number 2, shall we? And our second main topic today gets submitted to us by Nick, who writes, Season 2 of The Mandalorian had huge moments that were spoiled for a lot of people that can't stay up until 2 a.m. Central Standard Time to watch it. I had Luke ruined by someone posting a picture of him on Instagram at 8 a.m. Friday without a spoiler warning at all. So, my question is, do you think Disney should do like HBO and release shows around 7 or 8 p.m. so most people can watch it before the rampant spoilers pop up? I feel like with the weekly schedule and popularity of these shows, the problem won't go away on its own. All right, man, thanks a lot for sending that out. And listen, I'll tell you what, I think you're absolutely right. I think you are 100% right. Now, look, when I look back to when Game of Thrones used to be on TV, Rob, I remember that was a big thing. You know, Game of Thrones is going to debut in Los Angeles, at least. I think it was 6 p.m. or something like that. I can't remember the exact time. It was something like around 6 p.m. And I remember, like, we could get together, me and Ann and our buddy Sol and our friend Kaori could all come over and we could sit down and we all knew when it was going to be on and we could all watch it. And most of the country got to watch it together at the same time. When Mandalorian started dropping, I'm sure on the East Coast, it was 3 a.m. For us in Los Angeles, it was a little bit more manageable. It was midnight for us here. And I'm sure it was a good time for other people around the world. But in the North American market, it meant that you either had to make the choice to risk having everything spoiled because 8 hours were going to pass when other people could be watching it, or you had to stay up really late, which, Rob, is what Ann and I did every week. We stayed up very late, very, very late. We stayed up and would watch Mandalorian. And now we're staying up very late to watch WandaVision. And that's fine. But it's harder for other people because, again, as you start to move towards the East Coast, you're getting to 2 a.m., 3 a.m. for a lot of people, right? And that's just not manageable. That's just not manageable for a lot of people. And I never really thought about it until you did start thinking about the way HBO does it and the way they did it with Game of Thrones. And it made it like the country stopped at 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., whatever time it was. The whole country stopped together and watched Game of Thrones. And I think they could have that same sort of phenomena here because when you're talking about Disney Plus stuff and you're talking about Mandalorian and you're talking about WandaVision, and soon we'll get into Falcon and Winter Soldier and all that, you're talking about things that have really big spoilers, much like Game of Thrones would have. Now, look, I will say this. I believe with television, it's your responsibility to kind of avoid social media if you're going to be like a few hours behind on watching a show. But I still think it would benefit Disney Plus to create that worldwide moment that everybody gets together and watches at the same time, or at least North America. I think it would benefit viewers because a lot of us would then be watching the show at the same time. I just think it would be very beneficial. And I honestly, Rob, I don't see the drawback. If you're Disney, I don't see the drawback of saying, instead of dropping it in the middle of the night, we're going to drop it at a regular traditional television watching time. I just think it would benefit them. I think it would benefit the viewers. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at this in a too simplistic of a way. Rob, you read the question that our viewer sent in. What would your response to that be?
Well, you know, it's a tough. There's been an issue with things around the world. Like, for instance, movies didn't even used to be released day and date around the world. Sometimes countries would have to wait months to get movies. And now we live in a world where we're talking time zones, hours difference between when people get to watch things. And I would just say this, if you turn off your TV and your computer and don't look at your phone, how are you going to know what? No one's going to. We live in a world where it's a choice. You make a choice to get something spoiled for you because you look at various places that will spoil it for you. And I'm like, you know what? Just turn off your phone and turn off your computer until you can watch whatever it is you want to watch. If there's time to have it spoiled. And I think it's a choice that every person makes, John, and
But-
you just have to choose to not do it.
But I mean, again, I bring up the point, what is the drawback for Disney? Like for Disney to put it up at an hour that, a lot of people can watch it together at the same time. What's the drawback of doing that as opposed to there is a lot of benefit to it? Because I agree with you with what you're saying. Yeah, like when it comes to television, if you don't want to be spoiled on something, like if there's a big NFC championship game going on in the NFL and I can't sit down to watch it because I'm busy, well, then it's on me to avoid social media until I can sit down and get in front of the recording of it and watch it. I get that. But I mean, is there a drawback for Disney to say, hey, look, instead of 2 a.m. in the morning, we're going to play it at 7 p.m., 10 p.m. Eastern or something like that? I don't know. Do you see drawbacks?
No, I don't see a drawback to that. And I think it's strange that they're making the launch time. I thought HBO did have it right. Like you pointed out, if you're going to release something at 9:00 on the East Coast, I mean, release it at 6:00. What difference does it make? Like, why does it have to be, I got to tell you something. Amazon, like The Expanse just ended.
Yes.
But like The Expanse would start on Wednesday, but it was available Tuesday at like 7 p.m. So I'd be like, ooh, I wonder if The Expanse is available this early. And it always was, and I never understood, like, are they launching this at 6? Was it 9 Eastern time? And so it was manageable. You could watch it. But I do think it's sort of strange that they do wait. By the way, can I just say, I couldn't get on to Disney Plus at midnight.
You're not alone. I had no problem, but I've heard a number of people had that issue.
It took me 45 minutes before it said didn't say media unavailable. So people I was not part of the first wave of WandaVision episode 5. I had to wait till that initial first wave was done watching before they let me in. I mean, I felt like there was some electronic velvet rope and I was being denied my VIP status because I couldn't watch, John.
But Rob, that brings up a good point. Somebody in the chat board was saying this, and I think that brings up a good point. Somebody in the chat board was saying maybe them dropping in at midnight, 3 a.m. New York time is because everybody would tune in at 7 p.m. on the nose and maybe their servers couldn't handle it, which I mean,
they couldn't handle it last night at midnight.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you say that brings up that point, right? That maybe it's an issue of we don't want everybody watching it the second that it drops because it crashes our service, which to me is like you're Disney, boost up your servers, pay for it. But I mean, that could be the fact that you had those problems could be a case. I'm just curious though, did you hang in there after midnight waiting until you could log in and watch it?
Hell yeah.
Of course you did.
I could, first of all, it was really hard to even log into the Disney Plus app. And once I got in there, I was in there at like 11. I tried to click over to WandaVision about 10 to 12, 10 to midnight, and like the Charles Bronson movie, but I couldn't. Every time I tried to click into WandaVision, once I got into the app, it said unavailable. It was an error message. And then when it became 12 and the main header shifted over to WandaVision, I couldn't get in that way. I tried getting in and it just kicked me out. And it wasn't until 45 minutes, until 12:45, that I was able to get in and we watched the episode.
All right, guys. Question for you is, what do you think about that theory that our viewer wrote in that maybe like, hey, HBO did it and it really worked very, very well for them. Why doesn't Disney do it? Maybe it is a survey issue. Maybe there's some other things. Can you think of other reasons why they might do it this way? Love to hear your thoughts. Jump down into the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys.